Oh boy. Episode 76. What's up, everybody? Evening hour. Here we go. Sit back. Yeah. Cheers, everybody. Happy Monday. All right, come on in. Lots of stuff tonight. Wow. What's up? Yep. Hit it, Mozart. Or is it Bach tonight? Hold on. Mozart. I still don't know what's going on with the points. It should be getting addressed. I'm working on it. My voice is a little weird today. I've had a wild weekend of work and fun and surfing and Father's Day activities. I'm going to talk at this level. Let me know if it's too quiet. I think it'll be good. Wow. Awesome. It's Monday. Wait. Already, we're getting close to July. What's going on? Tonight, I'm drinking this wonderful drink again. If you can find this in an Italian market, I highly recommend it. It's a little bit like Moxie. I'm going to be honest. It reminds me of Moxie. All right. That's an episode. Moxie. The history of Moxie. What is wrong with me? How have I never done that? That is a perfect summer episode. Oh my. Hold on. I'm writing this down. Folks, thank you, Cassandra, Sherman, Benedetti, William, Dan. Hey, Dan and I got to hang out. Let me write Moxie. Yeah, Dan, actually, a few of you came to see a show that I did this week. And I'll get to that in a second. Here we go. So, if you are new to this channel, my name is Cardone. You're watching Evening Hour. This is going to be a blast tonight. Tonight's episode is going to be a mind melt. Before we get to that, yes, I take donations. Somebody asked me the other day. Absolutely. It helps pay for the channel. The channel ain't cheap. I got to spend money every month, but that's fine. If you can't donate or don't care, that's totally cool. The coolest thing you can do is hit subscribe and notify. Now, if you're under 1,000 subscribers, you're shadow banned. You don't exist unless people know exactly where to find you. Tonight, I was on my iPhone. I knew that there was a placeholder, holding tonight's show, which what you all see. And I put the words Evening Hour. Tonight's episode is Illusion of Choice. So I wrote down Evening Hour, Illusion, Choice, maybe Showbiz, I forget. And I couldn't find the episode. I had to spell it out perfect, and then it showed up. Now you tell me if I'm crazy to not think that this is shadow banned or they hit the bury button. You are buried. Like, they hit a button and it boosts the algorithm of favorability and shoots you to the top. It's true. There are a few famous YouTubers who are just under 1 million and it won't go up. Meaning, someone hit the button. Dan P. Grazie. Thank you. So, Thursday, I do a show at Wits End. It's a local place here at Rockaway Beach in New York City. And it's getting more and more and more and more crowded. And this Thursday, we could officially say it was sold out. It's a really large crowd. People are coming. It's now a party. And Dan P will tell you, I would say it's not a show, it's a party with entertainment going on. That's how I would describe it, right, Dan? I mean, how do you describe that evening? It's kind of a wild, raucous. People jump up and dance at their tables randomly. People openly smoke marijuana when it's in the outside venue, not the inside venue. People drinking. I mean, it's raucous, amazing fun. And if you want a night out, you want a date night, the food's good, the show's fun. The owner's energy is just there. So, yeah, Dan, thank you. And then Amanda, what's up? Amanda saw my show on Saturday at Slipper Room. Also sold out, basically. I was capacity crowd. You could barely fit any more people on the first floor. It was really crowded. And, yeah, that was a great show, too. I had a blast. Yeah, it's kind of a party, right? And then Slipper Room, I'm there, and there's a lot of people that have never been to the show before, and I'm trying to explain it to them. How do you explain Slipper Room, Amanda? I mean, it's also kind of a wild party. Wow, here we go. Dan P. Indescribable Bourbon Street in a central area. Yes, it is a little Bourbon Street there. It's kind of a wild fun. Slipper Room, once you're in the room, because it is a theater with like a bar. Yes, you did. You know some performers there from different venues. You know, I think Lydia from Coney. You know me from I don't know nowhere. Who else was there? Well, Ben Franklin, all those wonderful performers. Wow. Yeah, it's an honor to be included in the cast at the Slipper Room, and I will do that show as long as I can. I've been doing it since 2002. My gosh. Now, check this out. Speaking of variety theater, this Wednesday, right here, live on Zoom, I got an interview, a good one. Not only a really close friend, but one of the most excellent performers I know, Adam Reelman. Adam Reelman and I were part of the team of New York Variety All-Stars. He's the guy with the hat. And we had a touring show. And I am going to have him on here as a Zoom guest live on Wednesday. Now, what does he do? Why am I having him on? Well, he is known for his masterful sideshow performances. But he's much, much, much more than that. I would say he's a master of the sideshow. He can swallow swords. He can do all of the above, the fire. And he's the main head professor at the sideshow school at Coney Island. He's also books their outside shows and events. And he's a strong man, meaning he bends bars, rips phones books, decks of cards. And I think on the show on Wednesday, I'm going to see if he'll teach us a stunt. Hide your phone books. Someone said hide your phone books because he ripped them. He rips them in half. Yeah, Amanda, of course you know him. He's one of the most colorful, bright, cheerful, smart human beings I know, and I've got to do a lot of shows with him, and I always think he does a wonderful job. Mama in the house. Mama Cardone. How are you, Mom? Mom, you've seen our show before, I believe. Me and Reelman. So Reelman, Adam Reelman, I met him, I believe at Coney Island. I can't remember. And we had a show. I'm going to write this down for Wednesday before Adam tells story of sideshow convention. Okay. Yeah, we got to do some really good shows on the East Coast and on the West Coast. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to be giving away one of these shirts on Wednesday, not Friday. Either this one. And I might have one of these. We'll see. Another show that we do together. Look at this. The Sideshow and Strongman Festival. So yeah, we do a lot of shows. So I am psyched to have him on as a guest for a myriad of reasons. I mean, I know him out of anybody I've interviewed the longest just because I've spent a lot of time in a vehicle with him too, driving to gigs. Amanda J's on the bus. Where are you, in Brooklyn? That's hilarious. What's a phone book? Oh my God, Rick, you're right. Yeah, he was your professor. Yep. Very cool. What else? I had some other things before we get into the subject tonight. Tonight's subject. All right, let's give a little bit of the precursor of where we're going to go tonight. And I think I'm going to end it at a tight 9 p.m. tonight. Hey, what's up, phasing player? Oh, you know my board game stuff. You're going to have a good time tonight. Tonight, we're going to get deep into this thing here. So, this show goes from everything from me just telling entertainment stories to my rock and roll war stories. But I try to include a philosophical edge to it all. And tonight, I'm going into one of the subjects that changed my life this year. When I started reading about free will, it was an awakening, like when I was pretty young, when I realized that the notions of what a deity was, what it was being taught to me, wasn't real, wasn't true. And then, first it was like, all right, I don't believe that there's these floating Jewish carpenter types in the sky dictating and governing. That was easy. But then I had to get to the next thing of God, like a deity of any sort. And then, for me, the cognitive dissonance what's the word? It reached its pinnacle. That's the word. It reached its pinnacle when I realized that there was an explanation on a biological level why we believe in gods. Neurotheology, as it's being called. Pretty mind-blowing for me when I realized that. And I realized that maybe 25, 30 years ago. When the book God Part of the Brain came out. Matthew Alper. Great book. God Part of the Brain. And then this subject, free will. The notion that there's no God. There's no free will. Our modern voting system's not real. I'll say that one again. The illusion of choice. That's the name of the show. Don't think I'm one of those persons that denies the election results. But if you take it one layer away from that back to the primaries, it's rigged. There's only two parties. They're in charge of the debates and everything else. And it's clear if you watch the primaries, the flow of how they do what a magician does. And it's an illusion of choice. Notice the candidates that are in the presidential office now got pulled out early when they started doing poorly. It's very pre-planned. When you're a magician and you're studying anything or you're observing things, it's kind of hard to do. It's like when Houdini went to see a psychic medium to contact his dead mother. He was like, wait a second, they're using the same things I use. I thought they were different. Oh, no, they're not. So, voting, free will, and deities and gods, to me, are the three things that when you tell people they're fake, they get mad. Why? Because their subconscious knows it's true. So, hold on. Let's go back. I'm getting texts. Hold on. I'm telling someone I'm live online. I like telling people I'm live online sometimes. And then sending them the link while I'm doing it and watching them bug out because I'm on live. Here, let's do it now. Share, copy link. Let's see if this person responds. Watch. Live right now. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. I don't like doing that on live, but that's going to be funny if they show up. All right. So, you mean Harris, the first one to drop out of the race? And yes, exactly. I noticed this right away. Tulsi Gabbard took her out, and then the media ganged up on Tulsi and took her out. It was clear. It was like, oh, because Tulsi said some very shockingly true things. And then I met some people that, I remember I was in public and I mentioned Tulsi being kind of cool. I mean, she's a minority woman. She's a minority religion. She's a soldier. She's in Congress. Oh, but she's an Assad apologist. And I said to my buddy, do you even know what that means? And they were like, no! They were parroting what they heard on the news. So funny. But yeah, when you mention there's no God to a believer, it causes cognitive dissonance. When you tell people that free will's fake, it hurts. It's like, what are you talking about? Of course I have a choice. Okay, so let's try to do this and finish by 9 because, wow. If anybody can find a good argument of free will, please show me. Yeah, Peter, you're on the right page. Tulsi Gabbard's proof to me that it's really rigged to the point of like shocking amounts. I don't talk politics too much. I try not to, but I am of the camp of the George Carlins at this point. And if you want to know what my beliefs are on politics, go look what George Carlin has to say, because I'm kind of there. And then after learning what I'm going to be talking about tonight, woo, it's really harsh. So check this out. Literally, if anybody has an argument for free will, please tell me. It's like, I don't even understand. Yeah, Tulsi's one of the first ones to say intervention war is bad. Dude, they attacked her immediately. Like it was, you're out. When I saw that, I'm like, I'm done. I don't vote for anybody with a D or an R. Doesn't get a vote for me ever and never will for the rest of time. So now you know. Anywho, yeah, please. Does anybody in here? Anybody? Please, free will. Give me one answer, and you can't use God. I really can't. And the more I think about it, and the more research I do, and the more digging, and the more thinking, I don't see free will. Let's talk. Let's look at it from a science point of view, not a physics, not a philosophical, science. And that's what I wanted to do tonight. The illusion of choice. What's the science of the illusion of choice? What are the physics? Oh, you're on the, dude, Peter, you and me are on the same page then. Exactly. I've got too many other things to do to play around with some fake notions that people tribalize quick. So I'm out. Free will. What does it mean? It means what? My conscious self can freely decide courses of action. Let's see. I wrote this down. Mind controls body, then sends the command to do. So I have the choice to do something, and then it commands my body to do it. Pick up the cup. Okay? All right. Well, that freely deciding course of action, the scientific evidence isn't supporting it. In fact, the science is supporting a compelling illusion of sorts. Now, here's the problem. We only have access to our conscious experiences. And this is what the scientists are saying. This is where I step in and say, I have a different opinion on this. Here we go. I don't know if I have an argument for actual free will, but is there any applicable difference between real free will and our perception of free will? Okay, we're going to get into that. Like, what real free will might be? Right. So I've found a little kernel of what we would say is free will, and it might play into your thing phasing player. Okay, cool, dude. If this is your first show, you're here. You're talking. This is what I like. Great. Hold on. Where are my glasses? This is too good. Too good. I knew this was going to be a good episode, folks. This is the kind of episode I like. It says, if there is no free will, but the illusion of choice is 100% believable in our eyes, does it matter philosophically that we don't actually have a free choice? Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, if it doesn't matter, it's like, if we can't see it, then it's not there, right? Okay. Jung. Bradley. Oh, this is great. I love this. Free will is the ability to do gladly that what I must. Wow. See, that's it there. Okay. I love this. Not many people like this kind of chat. And I know this because I'll bring it up to certain people and then the subject gets changed or they get mad, right? This is it. We're starting to do the dig. Phasing player, I think you're onto something here with the notion that there's a real, quote, free will. And then the one that we think it is different. I think there's a nugget of truth there. So this whole notion that we only have access to our conscious experiences, I would say is true, but not from where I'm coming from. I've done some experimenting with hypnosis and self-hypnosis. Oh, you just got in here, Ruth. It's already a hot subject. You missed a lot already in 10, 20 minutes. I just went through why I don't think free will. I think free will, God, and our modern voting system are all BS. And when I say voting system, I mean all of our voting system, meaning the two-party system. So the best evidence, though, for free will is very similar to what the God evidence is, and that is of how compelling it feels. So it's like, wow, it really feels like there's this God above. That must be true. It's Occam's razor, I believe, is the name of that argument. It's just the most clear choice. Feels like there's a free will. Guess what? Must be true. That's their evidence. To me, that's not good evidence. So here's what's wacky, and this is why I wanted to do tonight's show. Science shows that before you want to pick up that cup, there's the thought, I want to pick that cup up. See? And then I pick the cup up, right? But now science is showing that before I have the thought, it's already going on. There's neurons boiling up, building, and then it happens. There's something that precedes it. This is determinism. This is, what's it say? That's not evidence at all. What's not evidence? That there's something before it. You have to, whenever people type, you have to say what you're referring to, because I'm talking fast and there's a delay. So no one will know what the, well, the two-party system is how a magician works, which is why I don't vote anymore in the elections. If you're a magician from my end and you see a two-party election system, it works exactly how a lot of the mind-reading tricks work. It's kind of sad. So this notion of determinism, which is a philosophical thing that well, it's not philosophical, it's science. Everything has something that comes before it. There's no blank, empty space in which something just pops open. There's some sort of thing that leads to the next. A feeling is not evidence. Correct. Yes. Big one. A gut feeling, not evidence. Yeah, that's true. Big one. So this notion of something has something before it. If I put an M&M here, a red one, and a green one, and you go, I could really pick either one. There's nothing that would say either or. Why would I want a red one? I don't care. It's not true. That's not what science is showing. someone whose life is good probably likes the idea of free will. Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about that. That's what this Joel, whoever Joel is, what you just said, Joel, is I think at the end when I get to my conclusions, that's going to come into play. So this idea of two M&Ms and you having a choice, they can show that before you go, you know what? I think I'm going to have the red one, that you've already picked it. And they actually have an experiment. Who's the guy that did? John Dylan Haynes. Using an MRI, they could accurately predict what people were going to pick before they picked it by using this system. Because your brain goes, picks it immediately, and then you do this BS thing where you pretend like you're not going to go for this, and then at the end you go for that. It's pretty weird. Yeah. All right. So any choice I have. So one day I was sitting at home thinking about why do certain people get their act together and fix their lives, and other people sort of get their act together and keep looping in circles, and some people crash and burn hard. And all three of those situations, I really do think you could show exactly what caused it to go that way, and how, because of the course of actions, that's what was meant to be. It was headed in that direction. Since the beginning, you can follow these tracks. There we go. I can't see. I don't have I keep having to put my glasses on. The inner BS thing. Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? It's sad. It's kind of sad that we do this, but all it is once we understand it, now, it's what it is, what it is. Here's what's really weird. Using science, they figured out how to make somebody feel like they had a choice when they didn't. And they're able to measure the brain and see what actually is going on. So what it is they have one person moving a mouse and like randomly stopping on certain things. And then they have somebody else moving a mouse and randomly stopping on this computer screen at certain things. And they're both doing it, but what they don't know is one of them is in on the experiment and the other one's the actual experiment. So, and they're allowed to stop whenever they want. So they're also told they're going to be hearing random words in their ears just to kind of throw it off a bit. But that's the secret. So they stop on one thing and both screens stop, and then they go, who stopped it? And then the person will go, I did. And you go, oh, okay. And they keep doing this weird stopping on random things experiment when the guy that's in on the experiment is told at some point to stop on this. There's like symbols. He's like, stop on the dog symbol. And for some reason, I don't know the detail of the exact thing that happens, but the person that really is randomly stopping, if the thought, they also hear the word dog in their ear, but they don't hear stop on it. They hear Biba, Jiggy, Shusha, dog, and then they stop on the dog, and they're like, oh wow, and they go, who did that? And the person that didn't do the stop says, I did. It's like a built-in magic trick to make it feel like they're able to choose these things. And then the brain, it registers as that. Really weird. When I read that, I was like, oh my God, it gave me like a stomach ache. I was like, wow, we're easily duped. I mean, this is why magic tricks have worked for the last 10,000 years. Our brains are the same. We're not evolving, folks. I mean, we are evolving. Everything's always evolving. It's either we're de-evolving or it's at an extremely slow pace. I mean, natural selection, I don't understand how it works anymore. I don't know the modern version of how they think that we evolve that way. Why is this popping up? Hold on. Dismiss. Yeah, your brain is way faster. That's true. Yeah. Okay, the feeling of free will. Thought must occur right before this action it can't happen a little after. It has to be like an immediate thing. Like they hear the word, the person stops, and then they naturally just kind of stop on the same spot. Um, yeah, there are three things manipulated in that experiment to cause the feeling of free will, and it seems to work. You know, John Dylan Haynes. Oh yeah, if the unconscious brain is making decisions, how do we have free will? Where is the free will? Now, here we go. Or maybe the other way around. Your senses pick up something. It takes a moment to get translated into something. Okay, hold that thought. You are a phasing player. You've been on the right page of where I'm going with this. There's this difference, okay, between picking and choosing. And they figured out, they split it. You've got picking and choosing. Picking would be the subconscious brain. You're in the grocery store and you're looking for the best apple. You're going through and you're looking for a nice apple. While you're doing the apples, your conscious brain is like, oh God, I got to call Jim. I got to go to the car wash. Oh, my headlight's out. I got to go get a new headlamp. That's your conscious. That's choosing. You're like, should I go there first or should I do that first? Meanwhile, you're picking apples. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The conscious is doing more complex tasks. It's choosing which job to take. Now, this is where free will might live. Might. Because I think I can debunk this too if I keep going. This going through the apples, okay, looking for the best one. Say you want to buy 5 nice apples, or let's say you're going to make a pie and you need 8, 10 apples. You're going through, you're looking at the apples, you're thinking about work, right? This imaginative going through and trying to figure out what to pick, that might be the free will part. One of the guys called it internal virtual reality. The imagining might be the free will part. The time to implement it and do everything else, that is not happening. That's the part that's not choosable. It's determined. So all of this like homeworky stuff, this thinking, that might be where the free will is, where these choices kind of lay out way before the actual actions, and you do them all the time throughout the day for future courses. I have some really neat ways to look at this in a second. Tell me if that makes sense a little bit. I'm curious because it kind of makes sense to me a little bit. Believe me, I want free will to be real, and that's why I went nuts looking for it. And I'm like, I'm not finding it. I didn't do that with God when I realized there wasn't a God. When I realized there wasn't a God, I was like, okay, kind of like what I should be doing with free will. Like, I believe somebody else, was it Phasing Player mentioned it? Like, if we don't notice it, who cares? But I'm noticing some weird things. So now let's look at the physics. So that was like science, like literal, like studying the brain and watching it work. But on a physics level, which would be, I'm not a physicist, but how do you describe physics? It's like, it's the philosophy of how the science works, right? It's the actual philosophy of it, right? The rhetoric of how do we describe the laws that are in play, right? We subconsciously make decisions before we consciously realize we made them. Now, chaos, I'm surprised someone hasn't brought up chaos. Okay, if you don't believe in God, what's running the determinism? Excellent question, Ruth. This is where people do bring in the God argument. Okay, so yeah, you're going, this is why this is a maddening subject. So, in my little model that I'm trying to grasp, my whole life I've thought, oh, there's this big bang that happened. I don't know what caused it, and here we are. There was a beginning, and it's in motion. The end, I don't know what that will be, but it's moving, and it seems like things have a beginning and an end. But now I'm thinking more of the Big Bang is a series of many Big Bangs, and it just keeps going and going and going. So there is no beginning, there is no end. If you want to call that God, just matter always being there, you could, but I don't like that word, God. That's what the determinism is. It's just things have been put into motion or never were not in motion. They were always moving. Things were always going. Now, chaos still is deterministic. It makes predictions hard, but it's still deterministic. It's just way more complex. It's like a moment of super complex determinism. And quantum, I'm waiting for someone to bring up quantum mechanics. Quantum, they're random. They really are random. And it says they're not predictable. And I disagree. I would say, trying to use a science brain, it looks like they're not predictable, but it might be following some sort of pattern that is so complex we can't grasp it right now. Yeah, we're not influenced by you. Yeah, so quantum, we don't have any influence on that weird thing that happens. So where's a will involved in that? There's no, my will's not involved. Only determinism with an occasional quantum jump. That's what it would appear. There's determinism, chaos, still determinism, and occasionally there are these chaos jumps. No beginning or end. Certainly it's all middle. Yeah, that's kind of what I think. It's one big middle with different parts, which is kind of like, it's almost like we didn't evolve to jump on that because we're born and because things die. So we're seeing it from an inside point of view, which is why we're so limited. I mean, we can do a little bit. Making a decision. Your brain is making a calculation while it's doing this calculation. You don't know the outcome, because if you did, you wouldn't have to do the calculation. Right? So you're like, I don't know the outcome. I'm going to have to The impression of free will comes from our self-awareness that we think about, combined with our inability to predict the results of what we were thinking before we are done. Wait, hold on. Wow, I love this. Phasing player. Maybe determinism is just like a really elaborate Rube Goldman machine based on subconscious thought. That's a great little model there. You guys know what a Rube Goldman machine is? If you don't, you've seen them. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, his thing that makes breakfast. Rube Goldman is a really complex machine designed to do a really simple task. It's in cartoons, it's in movies, it's a wonderful thing. Rube Goldberg invented a cool thing. Like, for instance, if I wanted this to open with a Rube Goldman machine, it's the game Mousetrap. You hit a button and it makes a chicken drop an egg, which hits a thing, and eventually it unscrews the cap and pours a drink. A really elaborate Rube Goldman machine based on subconscious thought. Wow. I mean, maybe. So, no free will. Oh, you were watching Pee-wee today. Yeah, we just lost Jambi. Jambi, the guy that played Jambi. He just passed away the other day. Great guy. I got to see him live in the show. Pee-wee's Playhouse. Great American TV show. Really unique and clever and fun and meaningful, and I really like it. All right, here we go. This is where we're talking about what this all means and what we get out of even not believing in free will. Some studies show that people that don't believe in free will, um, it's not healthy. It doesn't help them. But then the study was kind of shown that the way it was presented had kind of a fatal kind of end to it all, which gave it a negative connotation. So the results came out as it was sour. Um, and then in 2017, which is not that long ago, they had a study showing that the people that didn't believe in free will actually were okay and not so like bugged out by it. You know, it was not a big deal. Um, I don't know. I've presented it to people and watched them get angry, but it seems like okay, if you're happy with everything in your life, which is what you said earlier, um, if you're happy, then just roll with it. Free will, great. Um, I mean, I'm very happy. I don't like the word happy. I don't like that word, but okay. I'm happy. Great. I'm content. I'm happy. Um, I'm satisfied of where I am. You know, that kind of stuff. So you would think I would be okay with like, yeah, free will's great, but it seems like if you don't buy into free will, um, okay, hold on. This is good, Joel. Hold on. If you don't believe in free will, it's like being a non-drinker at a drinking party. It's kind of like a mess because there's nothing. You're like, I can't, I can't do anything. You know, you're just like, and so if you don't believe in free will, well, religion's out, Christianity out, Islam, Judaism, all the core beliefs, all the core tenets, none of it makes sense. Out. Our legal system, punishment. If there's no free will, how do you punish somebody, right? Um, control is an illusion too. Oh, that's a whole nother subject. Yes. Um, okay. If it hurts to think that there's no free will, okay, this is kind of neat. I wrote this down. Um, if you're feeling that cognitive dissonant punch, like, think of your life as a story that hasn't been told yet. Okay? There's like me, I don't know what my next 10 years is going to be. It's a story that hasn't been told. And I'm collecting data, thinking about things and looking at objects and taking it all in. And from that, what I learned, I get to act on it. The result of the thinking is determined, but you still have to do the thinking part. And that's what we're supposed to do. So we still have to think. We still just can't sit around and, expect everything to show up. What's it say? Oh, what's this? However, what's this? This is good. I do always have the ability to throw a rock through my window. I choose not to. Well, yes, but your brain doesn't do it from a deterministic point of view because of your life experience, knowing that if you do that, it's going to cost you money to fix it. Someone's going to have to pick up the glass. Like the guy that just whips it through. Like if you're sitting there, okay, Ruth, if you said that to somebody, you have the choice to throw a rock through a window, and someone picked up a rock and threw it through the window, he was determined they were going to do that. And why? Maybe they never heard the argument before. Maybe they're missing a few loose screws in their mind that stop them from just acting out on stuff, almost like a Tourette syndrome. Like there's a reason why the guy did it or the person did it, like, and the reason why you didn't do it. So there's something before it. When I realized that all of our thoughts have something coming before it, it started to bug me out. Especially like the M&M analogy. That's my favorite one. You have a red M&M and a green M&M. Go, choose one. You really do have a free choice. People that don't understand free will is an illusion, They underestimate how much of their decisions are influenced by info they are exposed to. And then I wrote down, pay attention to logical fallacies. Which is, this is a big subject, folks. Wow. Okay. So, folks, what do we think? Does that make sense about where free will might live? And that is when you're assessing your choices? Could be. Now, I have a little extra thing to add to this, and that is there's some science to this. When you have a choice to make between food, work, I mean, we have choices to make all day. What are you going to have for lunch? What kind of work are you going to do for the day? You can choose as a human now so many things. What you wear, your hair, makeup. You can even choose your literal identity down to your DNA. You can be like, I am a woman today. I am a cat today. I am a gabooble today. I could choose to be a gabooble today and live the whole day as a gabooble. It doesn't matter. It's my choice. I can do whatever I want. And this is interesting. Two things they found about having lots of choices. If you have too many things to pick from in our free world, because freedom and choice are together, right? We have a lot of freedoms and we have lots of choices to make. If you have lots of freedoms, you don't have many choices to make. You know, if you go back to the Soviet Union and you go to the grocery store, you know, they had one brand of cornflakes. You know, cereal. They had like cornflakes. Here, you go to the grocery store, they got 50,000 versions of cereal and everything else. So they found out when you have lots of choices, one of the problems is you get paralysis. You get the, I don't know what to pick. And studies show the more choices, participation starts to go in the activity. It makes it a little harder, so people pull out. Number two, people are less satisfied with more choices. If you have more things to choose from, you're less satisfied. It's easy to imagine a bad choice could have been made better. Regret even if you made a good decision. It's called opportunity cost. I like that. Opportunity cost. How we value things depends on what we compare them to. Alternative and attractive things we reject, less satisfied. So you have all these choices to make. I'll take the Chino San Pellegrino, right? I like this stuff. I'm going to choose this. And then you drink it, and you're like, yeah, I like it. But God, they had so many other flavors. It's called escalation of expectation. When you have one flavor or two, you don't have a lot of expectations. But if you have hundreds of flavors of ice cream, one of them should be perfect for you, but you might not find it, right? The one guy I was watching had a jeans thing. And he was saying that he liked it when there was only one kind of jeans. And I actually remember this. Oh, look at this. I heard someone say everything exists was made twice. First was the thought, then was it. Oh, okay. So, Ruth, what you're actually bringing up there is really neat. That is the idea that the thought of what exists is actually its true essence. That's the true essence, not the thing. The idea of what it is. This is where ideas are actually more real than reality. So you could get rid of every cup on earth. You could destroy them all. No cups. No triangles. They don't exist. But as long as someone knows what a triangle is, 3 equal sides coming to points like this, or a cup is, an object used for holding water. That's like, as long as you know the idea, that's the essence. That's the reality. Then you can make it. Yeah, that's interesting. Glad you brought that up. Like me ordering at Wits End, had to order a few dishes. Yeah, the food there's. So you have more options, you have more expectations. Things were better when everything was worse. Is a good quote someone had. Things were better when everything was worse. Less expectation, more room for a real surprise. When you don't expect much, something cool might pop out of that, and you're like, wow, I didn't expect that. But when you have 1,000 choices, your expectations are low. If you're into advertising, all of this means something. This is big. Low expectations. Sound familiar? Epicurus. A lot of the old philosophers, this is their whole thing. And what I want to end on is, how do I deal with all of this stuff? Well, first of all, realizing there's no free will, realizing there's no God, realizing that the more choices we have, it's actually not that great psychologically. Here's what it is. And when I teach magic, this is one of the first things I teach my magic students. Magic is a really big, and this is where we're going to end on this, because this is going to round out the night. Magic, magician stuff. It's a big subject. I have like 250 books right over there on every subject known to man and how to do magic with them. Books on card tricks, money tricks, mind reading tricks, book tricks, tricks with paper, tricks with eggs, handkerchiefs, every object known to man. I have a book on how to do magic with it. I read them all the time. I use them as resource materials. But in my working magic show, the show that the people in here have seen me do, I have whittled it down to the... Amanda, you were at the show. In front of that group, I did a card trick. The most simple card trick. Now, I tell my students, you need to make a set of rules and stick to them. Give yourself a parameter and a guideline and just stay there. You're going to have less choices, less to think about, but you're going to be able to focus a little better. So for me, like, here's an example. If somebody wants to learn to do magic, like Dan who's watching, when he was watching the show, I go literally at this venue to each table and they get their own little mini magic show right there in their lap. You know, here it is. When I do that show, all the magic that is in those sequences, I don't use any extra things. I don't use trick cards. I don't even put an extra card in the deck, which a lot of guys do. They put like an extra 4 of hearts or something in there so they can do a couple tricks. I don't do that. Here's why. I'm busy. I don't want to have to think too much. I'd rather think about nothing and focus on my performance. It's one more thing to worry about. It also makes the deck clean. There's nothing to find. I don't have to worry. I can honestly say that's a regular deck of cards. Please shuffle it. I don't like to use anything that uses shuffling on a table. I try to do no tricks that use tables, ever. I cut them all out. As soon as I see a trick that needs a table, I don't bother. Unless I can use their hand, I'm not interested. Why? Just easier. And those are the situations I want it for. So first, I figured out what situations I was going to be in. This is the thinking part. This is the observing part. This is the life experience part. And then I made a little set of rules. Now, I learned that the hard way, but when I give a lesson, that's what I teach. You know, hey, here's a shortcut. True. As soon as they started packaging things, that's when they were like, look, we need to advertise these because we're able to make more and they're going to go bad and we have to move them. Yeah, when production and packaging. Oh, yeah. I just give you the cards. You hold them. So I created rules. My magic has to be good. 90% of the tricks I do have to be good 360. Amanda, slipper room. So when you're performing on the slip room stage, you have a great proscenium theater with a curtain. It's every performer's dream to be able to come out to a curtain opening and closing, sound system, mics, whatever you need. But there's a balcony, and it's not a normal balcony. Imagine a 2-story building, and they built the balcony on the 2nd floor. So it's a little higher than a normal balcony, and they're looking straight down. It's terrible for a lot of magic tricks. So when I'm doing magic, I am doing even my big stuff. I assume someone's going to be sitting in the backstage area. Look, I even fool the dudes that are backstage. I treat my magic like that. I really do. A lot of magicians, I mean, eventually the crew knows what you're doing, but I still try to fool everybody, and I take that into consideration. So if I'm doing a theater show, I want to fool the guy that's working the lights on the side or whatever. So my magic's 360. So I created a really, really tight set of rules of the types of magic I like to learn and use in my show. And it's made it easier. It's made me master them better. It's me living according to my nature. It comes naturally for me to do this. And maybe me living according to my nature naturally is part of the deterministic thing. And that's why I'm in a good mood all the time. I mean, I'm not in a good mood all the time, but I will say most of the time I'm in a pretty darn good mood. If you catch me on a bad day, yeah, you might not notice. And that's because I'm doing my thing. I think I'm in the path I'm supposed to be on. I don't have to say I think it. I am, and always have been. Oh, were you upstairs or I didn't even see you, Amanda, when you were there. You were upstairs or downstairs? I think you said you were upstairs. When you're upstairs, I don't see anybody. I always acknowledge the balcony, though. I don't know if you noticed, but I called out the balcony a few times. I mean, they're there. They paid money to see the show, and you might as well include them. I always feel like the regular floor gets included, but they get left out. So you just gave me an idea to do a trick using the balcony. I'm going to start thinking about it. Wow. That was a lot, folks. If you're new to this channel, please hit that stupid like and subscribe. If you donate to these kind of things, $5, $10, $20, $100, all good. All goes in the show. Somebody gives me a $5 donation. It's awesome. It actually means a lot. It goes right into the show. If you don't donate, that's cool too. The only thing you can do that would help me is hit that stupid subscribe button and hit the notify button. Yeah, you're right. I should. Yeah, I mean, just everybody there is paid money, so. Yes. Well, when we did our soiree, Ruth, at the Slipper Room, you remember that there was people reading things from the balcony? I knew to do that. I wanted people to be looking and moving, and I wanted it to be surrounded. Wow. Tonight was cool. Tonight when I like writing, when you see me writing during episodes, that means I'm having a good time, and it means I have more work to do. I have more thinking to do. Yeah, free will. Free will, voting, and God. Yeah, the voting one's a shocker. The Democratic primaries, to me, is proof of rigged elections, which is why I don't vote anymore. No more. No. Anybody curious about why I don't vote? Watch George Carlin, and you'll see. George Carlin is a modern philosopher. I don't even consider him a comedian. He is funny, but he's a philosopher. He pointed out a few things that most people didn't have the balls to point out, and are very truthful. To me, are truthful. All right, folks. I hope you had a good time tonight. I certainly did. We had a really good crowd in here. Monday's my favorite day of the week. It really is. I'm like ready to go. I got a great week planned. I'm not as busy this week as last week. Last week was a zoo, which is why my voice feels a little weak. I'm not as, so I have to be careful. But I am slowing down a bit, which means more beach time for me. I finally have my warm weather. I don't have to put shoes or shirts on. I can just walk to the beach with a cup of coffee and sit in the morning now. It's pure bliss. So if you live near nature, I recommend get out. Go sit under a tree and do nothing. Bring a notebook. Bring one of these. Get a clipboard and some blank paper. This is it. If anybody wants advice on how to do what I'm doing, go on Amazon or one of these things and order a box of paper. And I mean a lot, like stacks. And then get a clipboard and just start writing thoughts. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, William, Amanda, Sherman, Ruth, Dan. Who else? There's a lot of people in here. Joel, Libra Liz, phasing player. Great stuff tonight. Please come back. Come back. This show's 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My Fridays have been a little dodgy. But I think I'm going to do a giveaway on Wednesday with Adam Rinn live on the show. We're going to give a t-shirt away, and I'll mail it to you. Yeah. You guys rule, man. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I'll see you all on Wednesday. My name is Cardone. This is Evening Hour Live and episode 76. Wow. Cheers, everybody. I'm going to take us out with the outro, and yeah, party on, Wayne.